Good afternoon and welcome. For those of you that haven't heard the budget, you'll be pleased to hear that there was relatively little said about pensions. It appears we have some of the stability that we've been craving. Those of you who came to annual conference may remember me promising that we would devote this year's investment conference to diversity on every level. And happily, somebody arranged for it to be International Women's Day today. Here come some facts. International Women's Day started 108 years ago. It has its origins in a strike in favour of women in the textile industry and was organised by the Socialist Party of America. How times change. We're calling this conference Diverse Investments, Diverse Perspectives. Diverse perspectives means we look at things in different ways. Remember that dress? Was it black and gold or blue and white? For those puzzled faces that don't know what I'm talking about, behind me on the screen is an example of something similar. Seeing things through different perspectives, in this case, the backgrounds are different colours, the cubes look completely different. But as you can see, the blocks picked out by the arrows are actually exactly the same colour. Different perspectives. But we don't naturally crave different perspectives. We're actually drawn to people who are similar to us. There's a word for it, homophily. It literally means love of the same. Love of the same can lead to bad outcomes. If we all mix with people of the same background, who like the same things, have the similar political views, and who look the same, then we will work and socialise in self-regarding groups whose biases are confirmed by one another. There's been plenty written about how groupthink and a refusal to contemplate the perspectives of other people has led to financial crisis and even war and atrocity. We're not the rational beings that we like to think we are. If we're to build sensitivity to different perspectives and an appreciation for what they bring, we need to seek out diversity. And I've got good news for you, because for the next 3 days, you're not going to have to seek very far to find it. We're bringing you lots of diverse speakers. In our main plenaries, our gender diversity is almost 50-50, although I'm cheating a little bit because I refer to appearances rather than individuals, and I'm counting myself more than once. Nevertheless, we will bring you people from diverse backgrounds, from business, politics, from journalism and academia. We're going to bring people on stage who will challenge regulation, but also the people who make it, because we want to listen to them too. Let's talk a bit about some of the speakers that are coming up. We kick off with Ed Balls, a man whose career diversity must surely give him some diverse perspectives. Later today, Gillian Tett is going to talk to us about how we shouldn't view current political events simplistically as populism, and why we need to break down silos. On Thursday, Margaret Heffernan is going to get to the heart of the matter when she talks to us about the importance of diversity in business. And she's going to go to our learning hub, our more informal place where you can talk to her, and she's going to dare you to challenge some of her views. Our own Graham Vidler from the PLSA isn't going to spare you either. He's going to talk about the importance of governance for pension schemes and how diversity features in that too. And we finish our conference with AC Grayling, AC Grayling is a man who thinks that humanity has lost its reason as it clings on to nationalism. And he believes in the power of diversity to enrich cultures and our economies. And we'll bring you diversity in our more mainstream topics as well, as we bring you the latest in thinking in asset management. But frankly, we could do more to improve the diversity of our speakers on asset management. And that's precisely why Helena Morrissey has launched something called the Diversity Project. That's a project led by people within the investment management industry who want to take action to accelerate diversity and inclusion in that industry. They recognise the importance of diverse cognitive thinking in order to bring success for their clients, their businesses, and their shareholders. And the PLSA has joined that project because we recognise how powerful it can be if you join together initiatives that have the same objectives. And their objectives chime very much with ours for better incomes in retirement. I've been struck by the number of people that have contacted me to offer me support as a result of my now somewhat prolific articles on diversity and inclusion. But still not everybody agrees with me. And I had an email from a friend recently reflecting on why that might be. And why it was that he and some of his peers had found it quite difficult to come to terms with diversity. He reminded me that he had grown up in a very different world from today's. Actually, he was working before the Equal Pay Act. In his world, back then, the very prospect of promoting a woman out of administration and into a managerial role was simply outrageous. And the only black and ethnic minority people were found in the actuarial department, where apparently they had trouble recruiting people from their normal pools. It wasn't until he reached the relative freedom of an executive position and met some people, among them me, that he realised the benefit, I'm going to quote now, the benefit of women in the workplace was more than just decorative. If he's right, then just putting it on the agenda is a big step forward for some groups, and they should be applauded for it. At the PLSA, we recognise the need to help governance boards and trustees embrace diversity, and we're doing our bit to help. Last week, we launched our campaign called Breaking the Mirror Image, with a collection of 11 essays from leaders in the industry, talking about how diversity has affected them and their views on it. Now, we've started with gender diversity, but if we're really, as an industry, going to embrace diversity, we also need to talk about race, age, disability, sexual orientation, and social class. And we will do that. We will broaden our campaign, and we'll start with some research into all elements of diversity across governance groups. We want to really build awareness in the pensions industry to break the culture of the mirror image. Difference and diversity will strengthen us. I'd like to see real change, and it would be great if we could be put up as an example of diversity and inclusion. So we will ramp up that campaign over the coming year with leadership courses centred around diversity, training to bring on a diverse pipeline of trustees, and guides, one of which will help trustees with how to recruit diversely. So we're not finished yet, and I'm certainly not finished talking about diversity, but I probably ought to let you get on with the conference and hear from people with other perspectives than mine. I hope that throughout the conference, If you haven't already, you will find something to inspire you and give you reason to put diversity at the top of your agenda. Now, as I said, our first speaker is Ed Ball.